Welcome back to ChapterCast, your go-to study break that actually helps you study. In this episode, we're diving into Chapter 12, Negative Reinforcement. Now, before you assume it's just about punishing bad behavior, hit the brakes. Negative reinforcement isn't negative in the way you think. In fact, it's one of the most misunderstood concepts in all of ABA. So grab your earbuds and let's decode the science behind removing something unpleasant to make behavior more likely to happen. Let's clear up a big misconception. Negative reinforcement isn't about punishment. In fact, the two are often mixed up, but they're actually very different concepts in psychology and everyday life. Negative reinforcement is a way to make a behavior happen more often by removing something unpleasant or uncomfortable from the situation. It's about taking away what you don't like, so you're encouraged to repeat the action that made it go away. Imagine you have a pounding headache, so you decide to take an aspirin. After a little while, the pain fades away, and you feel much better. The next time you get a headache, you'll probably reach for that aspirin again without even thinking about it, because you remember how it helped last time. That's negative reinforcement in action. Your behavior, taking the aspirin, removed the discomfort, so you're more likely to do it again in the future. It's not about adding something bad to your life, but about taking something bad away. The focus is always on removing an unpleasant experience. People often confuse negative reinforcement with punishment, but they're actually opposites. Punishment is meant to decrease a behavior, while negative reinforcement is all about increasing it. Punishment decreases a behavior by adding something unpleasant or taking away something good. Negative reinforcement, on the other hand, increases a behavior by removing something unpleasant. For example, touching a hot stove and getting burned is punishment. You're less likely to do it again because of the pain. But taking aspirin to remove pain is negative reinforcement. You're more likely to repeat that action whenever you feel discomfort. This principle shapes our habits and choices every single day, often without us even realizing it. From small decisions to big ones, negative reinforcement is always at work. Understanding negative reinforcement helps us see why we do what we do and gives us insight into our own motivations and behaviors. It's not just for scientists or psychologists. It's for anyone who wants to understand how people, and even animals, learn and change. Once you start looking for it, you'll notice negative reinforcement everywhere, in classrooms, at work, at home, and in your own daily routines. It's a powerful motivator that can make life smoother, help us avoid stress, and even improve our well-being when used thoughtfully. So, let's dive in and see how negative reinforcement really works, and how you can spot it in your own life. You'll be surprised how often it pops up in your daily life, shaping your actions and decisions in ways you might never have noticed before. And that's what makes negative reinforcement so fascinating. It's a hidden force guiding us every day. Negative reinforcement comes in two main types: escape and avoidance. These are powerful ways our brains help us deal with discomfort, and they show up in our lives more often than we realize. Escape is when you're already in an unpleasant situation and do something to get out of it. It's a reaction to something that's bothering you right now, and your goal is to make it stop as quickly as possible. For example, if you're wearing a scratchy sweater, you take it off to escape the discomfort. The relief you feel afterward is your brain's way of rewarding you for escaping the unpleasant feeling. Or if the music at a party is too loud, you leave the room for relief. You might even cover your ears or find a quieter spot, all in an effort to escape the noise. Your action stops the unpleasant thing that's already happening. This is your mind's way of saying, let's not stay here any longer than we have to. Avoidance is different. You act to prevent something unpleasant before it starts. Instead of waiting for discomfort, you take steps to make sure it never happens in the first place. Maybe you know the party will get loud, so you leave before the music starts. Or you might decide not to go at all, just to avoid the situation entirely. Or you check the weather and grab an umbrella to avoid getting wet. You're using what you know to sidestep discomfort before it even has a chance to affect you. Escape is reactive. Avoidance is proactive. One is about dealing with problems as they come. The other is about planning ahead to dodge them. Often, we learn avoidance after experiencing escape. When we've been through something uncomfortable, we remember it and try to prevent it from happening again. We remember what was unpleasant and act early to prevent it next time. This is how habits form, by learning from our past experiences and making better choices in the future. Both types help us adapt and make life more comfortable. They're like invisible tools we use every day, often without even thinking about it. These patterns shape our habits, from leaving early to avoid traffic to dodging awkward conversations. They influence everything from our morning routines to how we handle stress at work or school. Negative reinforcement is about making choices that keep discomfort at bay. It's a subtle but powerful force that guides us toward comfort and away from stress. Once you recognize these patterns, you'll see how much they guide your actions. You might even start to notice new ways you use escape and avoidance in your daily life. Escape and avoidance are everywhere, quietly shaping our behavior. They help us navigate challenges big and small and make our days a little smoother. They're simple but incredibly effective. Even the smallest actions, like stepping away from a noisy room or planning ahead, can make a big difference. That's the beauty of negative reinforcement. It's always working in the background, helping us find relief and comfort in our everyday lives. It's all about making life a little easier, one choice at a time. For negative reinforcement to work, timing is everything. Relief from discomfort needs to happen right after the behavior. If you take an aspirin and your headache fades quickly, you'll connect the two. The bigger the relief, the stronger the reinforcement. Escaping a swarm of bees is more memorable than shooing away a single fly. Some things are naturally unpleasant, like pain or loud noises. These are unconditioned negative reinforcers. Others we learn to dislike, like a ringing phone that always brings bad news. These are conditioned negative reinforcers. We're hardwired to avoid some discomforts, but we also learn new ones through experience. The stronger or more immediate the relief, the more likely we are to repeat the behavior. Negative reinforcement is about the contrast between discomfort and relief. It's a basic, powerful force in how we learn, and it's happening all the time. Negative reinforcement is everywhere in daily life, quietly shaping our actions and decisions, often without us even noticing. For example, when your car's seatbelt alarm beeps, you instinctively buckle up to stop the noise. That persistent sound is designed to be just annoying enough to prompt you into action. Once the alarm goes silent, you feel immediate relief, making you more likely to buckle up next time before the beeping even starts. Or think about hitting the snooze button on your alarm clock in the morning. The buzzing stops instantly, giving you a few more moments of peace. That small escape from discomfort reinforces the habit, making it tempting to repeat. When you see a traffic jam ahead and take an exit to avoid it, you're also using negative reinforcement. You dodge the frustration of being stuck, so next time, you'll remember that shortcut and probably use it again. In social situations, you might excuse yourself from a boring or uncomfortable conversation, escaping that awkwardness. We develop little tricks, like checking our phones or glancing at the clock, to avoid or escape awkward moments all the time. Even technology uses negative reinforcement. When you turn on Do Not Disturb, all those distracting notifications stop. That sense of relief encourages you to use the feature again, especially when you need to focus or relax. These examples show how negative reinforcement quietly shapes our habits, routines, and even the way we interact with technology and people. It's not just about big decisions. It's woven into the small, everyday choices we make, often on autopilot. We're constantly seeking relief from discomfort, stress, or annoyance, often without even realizing what's driving us. Negative reinforcement is the hidden engine behind many of our actions, quietly motivating us to avoid unpleasant experiences. Once you start to spot it, you'll realize it's everywhere, influencing your choices in ways you never expected. It's a powerful, invisible motivator that shapes our lives, one small decision at a time. Negative reinforcement is a valuable tool in education. Teachers might say, "Finish your work quietly and there's no homework." Students work hard to avoid homework, reinforcing good behavior. For a student anxious about reading aloud, a teacher might offer a break after a paragraph. The break removes stress, making the student more willing to try again. Timers or signals can warn students to get on task to avoid missing recess. These strategies help students learn that their actions can prevent or end discomfort. The key is to use negative reinforcement thoughtfully, focusing on building positive habits. It's about empowering students, not creating anxiety. When used well, it teaches control, responsibility, and confidence. That's the real lesson. Students learn they can shape their own outcomes. Negative reinforcement is crucial in therapy and care settings. For someone who dislikes a certain activity, teaching them to ask for a break gives them control. When they use a sign or card, the unpleasant activity stops, reinforcing communication. This approach replaces challenging behaviors with positive ones. It's also used to build tolerance for tough routines like brushing teeth. Start small, hold the toothbrush for a few seconds, then remove it. Gradually increase the time, reinforcing each step. Caregivers can also teach avoidance, like asking for headphones before a loud vacuum starts. These strategies reduce frustration and build trust. It's all about making life more manageable and empowering individuals. Negative reinforcement shapes the behavior of teachers, parents, and caregivers too. If a parent gives a child candy to stop a tantrum, the relief from the noise reinforces giving candy. Next time, the parent is more likely to do it again. The same happens in classrooms. Sending a disruptive student out brings relief, so teachers repeat it. But this can accidentally reinforce the wrong behaviors in both adults and kids. We all want to escape tough situations, but quick fixes can create long-term problems. Recognizing this helps us make better choices. Instead of just seeking relief, we can focus on building positive habits. It's about being aware of what we're really reinforcing. That awareness leads to better outcomes for everyone. It's a two-way street. Our actions are shaped by negative reinforcement too. Using negative reinforcement comes with ethical responsibilities. It's never about creating new discomfort just to teach a lesson. The goal is to remove existing unpleasant things, not add to someone's stress. Always use positive reinforcement first when possible. If negative reinforcement is needed, make sure the discomfort is mild, never harmful. Threats or humiliation are never acceptable. Strategies should be designed by qualified professionals who prioritize well-being. The focus must always be on helping, not hurting. Used thoughtfully, negative reinforcement can empower and support. It's about improving lives, not just changing behavior. And negative reinforcement isn't the villain, it's a natural part of learning. It helps us avoid pain, build habits, and navigate daily life. From classrooms to care settings, it can teach skills and boost confidence. But it also shapes the choices of those who teach and care for others. The key is to use it ethically, always putting well-being first. Understanding negative reinforcement helps us make better choices for ourselves and others. It's about relief, control, and learning, not negativity. When used wisely, it's a force for positive change. Every day it helps make life a little better, one behavior at a time. And that's something worth celebrating. And that wraps up Chapter 12, Negative Reinforcement. If this helped clear things up or made you rethink what negative really means, hit that like button and subscribe to ChapterCast. New chapter summaries drop weekly to keep your study game strong. Got a chapter you want us to cover next? Drop it in the comments. Remember, listen, learn, retain. See you next time.